Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more turkey patterning. And today we've got another combo that one of you guys requested to see, or at least this type of shell through this particular choke anyway. And I'm definitely curious to see what we can get, or at least how does this choke actually handle a little more basic or a little bit cheaper style of a shell. We know this choke can give us some nice results, but these shells are kind of limited on their own front, so we'll definitely see what they can do together. But as for the loads we're running today, I brought out some of the Fiocchi Golden Turkey loads. These ones are the 12 gauge, 3 inch, 1 3/4 ounce payload of lead 6s at about 1200 feet per second. These are definitely down there in your budget type of category. I think for a box of 10 of these, it's like $11.99 or something about like that. So $1 or maybe a hair over per round. They're nothing fancy. From what we've tested with them, they're good enough to do the job out to 40 yards, but they're no Longbeard XR load or something like that. But here's what one looks like out of the box, and you can kind of see there, they are a nickel-plated lead shot with a pretty basic wad. There's no buffer in them, and there are pellets that sit above where the wad ends right there towards the end of the shell as well. So pretty basic import load, but of the import shells, these are probably one of the better ones on average, so we'll see what we can get. But as for the setup we're running them in, I brought out my Remington 1187. It's got a 28-inch barrel, and we're going to be running this choke, which is a Hevi-Shot Turkey choke. It's a 662 constriction, and it has shown us a number of nice looking results for sure. But one of you guys wanted to see it tested with a variety of different lead 6s, and I've got some of these golden turkeys in 6, so I figured we'll put the two of them together and we'll see what it can do. And how well does a 662 like this actually handle a more basic shell like those are? We should see something halfway decent, but it's going to come down to how tight we can actually constrict it down, and is 662 going to do the job or not. But as for today's test, we're running it the same as usual. So we've got our turkey target at 40 yards and our chronograph so we can get our velocity. So let's get you guys to view that target, and we'll see what this Hevi-Shot 662 can do with a more basic load like these Fiocchi Golden Turkeys. I expect to see a dead turkey at 40, but how tight is our pattern actually going to be able to constrict down? Let's take our shot and see what we get. Okay, that show gave us 1244 through the chrono. Boss claim was 1200, so we are a little bit over it from our 28-inch barrel, but still mid 1200s is perfectly fine for a lead 6 like that. But how well did that Hevi-Shot 662 actually choke our pattern down? Let's go check it out and see. Okay, so here's our 40-yard pattern, and this is about what I expected to see overall, I think. Do we have a dead bird at 40? Yes, indeed we do. There are multiple of them down through the spine that would have done the job, and there's nowhere that he could move and get through that pattern, so it is a 40-yard capable combo. Our core might have favored just a little bit low, kind of down towards the body area on that bird, and I do think it is a little bit tighter down there, kind of towards the bottom right of that turkey target than it is some of the other places on our paper here. But you can see it's really not an overly tight core, and these shells are kind of limited in that, really. It's about what I thought we would see, but it is a pretty even core area. There's no major voids within there at all. You can pretty much draw a 15, 16, maybe 18-inch circle around the bottom right corner of that turkey target, and there's nothing major to be concerned with. That is a 40-yard capable core for sure. However, outside of that, we didn't really condense our spread down much at all around the edges. Kind of filled the rest of it up, kind of like a field load, which is essentially what these are kind of like in the first place. They're kind of a turkey marketed field load at the end of the day. This is not a bad pattern. We probably have seen a little better and a little worse from these shells, but they still kind of tote the line where cheap budget option at 30 yards or so, yeah, it's absolutely going to hammer a turkey. It's clearly capable to 40, but to really get these to condense down any farther than this, you kind of need a ton of choke constriction to do it. And at that point, you wind up starting to condense the core down, but you blow the rest completely everywhere. So kind of a little bit on the line. It's just stuff you have to deal with when it comes to a budget shell like that. So it's still a case of, if this is what you can get, if this is what the store has and you need to run it, sure, keep it inside of 40 yards, be careful of other birds around him, and it's going to be a dead turkey all day long. But if you have the option, you can spend about the same price, between $10 and $13 a box, and get a Winchester Super X load that's going to outshoot this, no doubt about it. So not so much on the choke today. I think the choke did all right. right with trying to give us a little bit of a core there. It's just the limitations of the shell that we're running into. So I would run it if it's what I had, but if this is what you're down to, probably keep it 30 yards in or so. That way you can condense that spread down, keep from hitting other birds or getting a bunch of pellets down there in your meat and stuff like that, and you'll be just fine. So maybe we could have been a little bit hopeful and optimistic that that choke would have given us some magical, really tight condensed pattern, but I think this is realistic for what these shells are. It's a pretty even spread. There's no major voids or anything in it. It's just a little bit of constriction through the core, with the rest kind of just being a little bit all over the place and more open. Not too surprising of a result today, but this is why you test different things and see what you can get. And sometimes, just like this one, they kind of give you exactly what you thought you might see. And here's the wad from that shell. You can see it's pretty much just your basic field load design. They have the little gas cushion spring piece down here towards the bottom. And like I showed in the shell, there are pellets that sit above the wad, so it's not quite full length for the entire shot column either. But no major damage, nothing stuck down in there. And it looks about like I would have expected it to. It's just not an overly fancy or high-tech load. And that's probably pretty realistic for the results we got today. Alright y'all, well, what did you think about that result right there? It's not a bad pattern by any means, for what it is anyway. It's just a more broad and open type of spread. It's about the limitations of what the shells are going to give us. It's a field load at the end of the day. It doesn't have any kind of special wad, pretty basic equipment there. They are a nickel-plated lead shot, which does help, but they're not buffered or anything like that. It's just your standard, more budget-oriented field load type of performance overall. Like I mentioned a minute ago, if you want to spend that price and have the option on the store shelf that you're looking at, just go with the Winchester Super X load, and it's going to give you much tighter patterns than that will. But for what it is, that really isn't too bad. We've got a nice even core area to work with. It's just a more broad spread. So if you're okay with having that broader area of shot and potentially getting some pellets in your meat, or having to be careful with other birds close to him, then this is going to be a perfectly fine combo. If you hunt birds at 20 to 30 yard range, that's going to give you a good bit of breathing room to work with as well, over a long grid XR load or a big TSS load or something like that. So for some people's applications, that would absolutely fit. But for other people, they're probably going to prefer a little tighter of a spread. And that's not on the choke here today, that's for sure. I think for what it is, it did about as good as what it could have done with these. It actually did try and give us a little bit of a core. So it's probably going to be a little bit of personal preference, whether that's the kind of pattern you're looking for or not overall. But leave all your thoughts down below. Is that about what you expected to see? Were you a little surprised one way or the other? Have you tested any of these Fiocchi Golden Turkey shells or one of those Hevi-Shot 662 chokes? And if so, what kind of results have you seen? Is this a pattern or combo you would hunt with? Or would you prefer to see it a little bit tighter and more broad end than what we got there? And what other combos do you want to see with either those shells or that choke? Let me know all that down below. But with that being said, I've got some more testing to get done for you guys, so I'm going to get back to it. As always, we have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox where you can send stuff if you'd like. All the information will be in the description if you're interested in it, but I'm going to get back to it, so I'll see y'all in the next one.